Hello, welcome to the Allure Factor. I am Delia, Delor. It gives me great pleasure to be here in London, England. Not that you're going to see it, but just know it, okay? I have two special ladies with me today, and they have so many interesting, wonderful, informative things to say. Ebony is going to be joining us later, but for now, let me introduce you to Ava. Ava, thank you so much for being on the Allure Factor.
I'm so excited to be here. Great to have you back in London.
I know. And before we even get into you, I want to ask you, can you remember how we first met?
I do. We met at FAD, didn't we?
That's right.
And I said to you, I'm coming to the Caribbean.
That's right. And you are.
I am.
And later on, you're going to be telling us a little bit more about when you're coming to the Caribbean and why, right?
I will definitely do that.
Good. Now, for now, could you tell our viewers something about you?
Well, I'm Ava. I'm from Jamaica, which is, I suppose, closer to you than it is here. I'm a coach, I'm an author, I'm a mom, and I'm also a speaker. That's a little bit about who I am. I think as we go along, the viewers will get a little bit more about who I am.
Okay, so where was Ava born?
I was born in Jamaica.
Okay.
That beautiful little place.
And which village or town?
I was born in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica.
Well, isn't that where all them white people, the clear people, the fair people are supposed to come from?
Man.
So how come you're not that, you know?
Do you know what? People have that misconception that once you're from St. Elizabeth, you're light skinned. But we have such a mix. We've got a lot of Germans and a lot of English because, of course, you know, we were colonized, right? But no, I'm from the black side of the island, I suppose. Yes.
And how long were you there before you came here?
I came to London when I was 26 years old, so it's been a long time. I was born there. I grew up there. I came here as an adult, so I spent most of my life in Jamaica. And if I were to compare the two, more time was spent in Jamaica.
Okay, well, don't worry. I won't ask you what age did you leave Jamaica to come here. And then start doing the maths, 2015.
She's trying to figure out my age. I can tell you, girl, I am 40 years old in a few months.
Hey! You keep it going for the ladies, you know.
Caribbean
that's
G's,
one thing
girl.
the men can't do it, you know. I don't know what's wrong with them. They look nice when they're a bit younger, and then I don't know what happens to them until they get quite old, and then some of them look quite distinguished. Actually.
Because I'm single, I'm gonna be careful. Caribbean men look hot all the time, so I'm gonna be careful of that one.
You know, I'm going to stand up for my UK men. You know, I've seen some nice, crisp, sharp UK men. You know,
really, I live here. And I can't find
you
it.
can't see any.
No, you gotta show me that.
All right, you know what? I'll take pictures next time I'm out and about, and I'm gonna send them to you.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd be delighted.
Okay, so what I was gonna ask you what turns you on, but then.
I tell you what, a nice looking black man. I'm not discriminating. I mean, I'm not racist, but I just prefer black men. Probably because I grew up in the Caribbean. I hope I said the word right. The female for black men is just something to die for. I just love them. So
you know, I used to think that. I'd say about 25 years ago, and I remember actually standing, I think I was at the Hackney Empire, I went on stage, I think it was Tony Fairweather's in celebration of my sisters or something very similar, and I went on stage, I think he was celebrating the brothers, and I walked on stage to present an artist, and I said, a man isn't a man unless he's a black man.
I can't believe you said that.
I said it. And now, 20 odd years later,
I know, right?
I'm not married to a black man. I'm married to a Caucasian man. But so what I think now is it's not about the color of one's skin.
I know.
And I know that's what you're saying. And I think in a way it's really nice to think about going out or marrying someone of your culture because you think that things are going to be similar, it's going to be easier and so on. But at the end of the day, what we were looking for is love.
Yes, and you know what? I was in Italy recently, and I saw some fine brothers out there. I was like, hoo. So no, for me personally, I think I look for more the character of the man. Yes, my first preference would probably be a black man, but that's my orientation. It doesn't mean that I.
Let me tell you something. When you find Mr. Right, it's not going to matter what color he is, because all the experiences that we have in life, if we learn from them, because that's another big mistake, and I want to talk to Ebony about that a bit later. It's a big mistake that we have, you know, that we have all these things that he has to have this, he has to have that, he has to have this and whatever, and we're looking for those things, not that we can offer it to him. That's another thing we forget. But then when we get that, it's not really what we want. But when you meet the right person, you just know, but then you have to learn from your past experiences so that you don't meet the same right person who was the wrong person.
Do you know, yeah. Do you know, I think Ebony is going to be the one to address some of these issues. Yes. But I really think that love is what is really fundamentally important. It doesn't matter what color the person is. And I think as you get older, your vision of what it should look like, the core of what love is remains, but your vision of how it should be packaged changes and broadens. So for me, it's the right guy with the right qualities that's going to treat me as the woman I am and the queen I am that I'm most interested in.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. I'm so glad, because of course, you know, I know more about you than our viewers do, and from where you're coming from, to still believe in love in the kind of true sense of the word, I think it's just absolutely amazing. But give us a little taste in terms of what you'll be thinking or what you're actually planning to do in the Caribbean.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to St. Kitts. I'm going to St. Kitts for the first of one such conference called the Antilla Women's Conference, which you are a proud media sponsor for.
I'm dying to go there.
I'm so glad, and the speaker as well. And it's a conference where we're bringing together women to, you know, to come together to plan 2016, because very often Caribbean women are left out of this, and Caribbean, you know, South and Central America, North America, but also Latin America. And so we're bringing women together to come together to plan, to step into their greatness, to be transformed, to understand, as Ebony will talk about later, that their relationships affect their actually private and intimate relationship affects their work relationships. We're going to be talking to women about how to step up and shine and show up and be themselves. But we're also giving business tips, and we're bringing all kinds of experts and thought leaders from all over the world to come together in St. Kitts at the Marriott Hotel, and it's going to be totally amazing. We are being hosted by the Honorable Shirley Osborne from Montserrat. She's in Parliament there, and we're so delighted that you guys are going to be hosting us and really showing us a good time. So we really implore and ask all women in the Caribbean and other parts of the world to come and join us for something different. You know, a hard day, a few hard days, but after that, the beautiful grounds of the Marriott. I can't wait to be there.
Yeah, I've been there. I've just came back from there a couple of months ago. Wonderful, wonderful. And we're going to give everyone the information as to how they can get to you as well. But I have to say, every time I think about St. Kitts, I have this big smile on my face. And it actually relates to something that you said about, you know, women coming together. And, you know, I'm so glad you chose St. Kitts, because I remember I was living mostly in the UK at that time. It was many, many years ago, maybe about 10 years ago or something. And I had just come out of a relationship where I knew I should have said to him, on your bike. But I kept waiting, because every time I wanted to tell him he needed to go, something happened to him. He lost his job. You know, he lost his mom.
And you feel guilty.
And I just thought, no, I can't say. So I was like waiting for the right time, and eventually the right time didn't come for me. It came for him. He said to me, I'm leaving you. I'm thinking, I was so angry. I was so angry that I was like being patient. But where St. Kitts come to play is that a girlfriend said to me, come on, you know, let's travel the Caribbean. Let's just, you know, you've broken up with him. It's been how many years? Let's go and have fun. So we went, and the first place we went to was St. Kitts. And we went to St. Kitts, and I purposely chose to go to St. Kitts because although he was born in the UK, his family was from St. Kitts. You know where I'm going, right? And he had never been to St. Kitts, and we had planned when we were together that we were going to go to Kitts. So of course, I actually was in London, and I bought this card because I wasn't sure whether I'd get it in St. Kitts or not. So I got this card. I'll tell you what it said before. I had this card, and I got to St. Kitts, and I wrote this little message on it. Oh, God. Guess what I said to him. It was 4 words.
I don't know.
Starts with a W.
Wish you were here.
My girl. I remember just writing that and posting it to him. And if he's watching now, he'll be like, oh, woman. Because, you know, that was my act of revenge. You know, I think it's the only one I've had.
You were upset. Come on, you waited.
I was happy.
But you waited, and then he dumped you. Oh, that's hard. That's hard.
No, I remember, you know, in being dumping, you know, and again, I'm sure Ebony will talk about this, how you go through these different stages where, you know, you're angry. Everyone was saying to me, why aren't you angry? And at first I was angry that I hadn't ended it first. And then I was like angry, well, I can't believe he did this to me. And Then
he helped you.
And then, but then it took me a while to learn that, you know what, I shouldn't be angry. I should be angry with me.
Yes, because
I was the one who was waiting and waiting and waiting. And in this life, as much as we would like to be compassionate and considerate, we must put ourselves first.
Oh, girlfriend,
we just have to know how to communicate that.
I put Ava Brown first now. I used to be in a marriage similarly. We're not even here to talk about relationships. That's Ebony's job. But I've learned the art of goodbye. Okay? I'm not sitting around for no man to dump me. If the relationship is not healthy, just let it go.
You don't do it by text, do you?
I got dumped the last time. I was married. And my husband and I made love today.
Yeah.
We had a quarrel tomorrow, and the next day he was. I got told by the course that he was no longer married. So you know.
Oh no! But isn't it great you can laugh about it?
I was a visa girl, so it was okay.
Oh
no!
I'm saying good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah. I'm happy. That was good riddance. I'm glad.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, you know what? When we come back from the break, I want to talk more about how you are the way you are right now.
Yes.
Because your history is so turbulent.
Can't believe that it's a girl here, right?
And not as, happy-go-lucky. And I don't mean it in a bad, flirtatious way. You know, you're so vibrant and dynamic. So I want to know, how do you get from the kind of history that you've come from to where you are now?
We'll talk about that.
That's coming up soon. So make sure you stay here on the Delor Factor. See you soon. Welcome back to the Delor Factor. I'm in London. I'm also sitting here with Ava. Ava, I did a lot of chatting in the first bit.
Don't worry.
Now it's over to you. I referred to your history and I referred to it being rocky. Can you tell us more about your life in Jamaica?
Of course I can. So I grew up in Jamaica. I sold mangoes on the train. I was born to a mother who was essentially 16 years old, and she was kicked out of the house by her own mother. And I think it's the worst thing you can do to a child when they also have a child, is to kick them out, because she ended up in the wrong places, the wrong hands, and she just had babies after that. It's a cycle. And we were really poor. My stepdad lost his job really when I was like a young child, and it meant that it saw me, to cut long story short, I ended up selling mangoes on the train. I didn't go to school as much as I should have. I was sexually abused by my father. I was held up at gunpoint and raped in front of my then 3-year-old daughter. I left high school without maths or English. I was homeless. I had what you'd call a very tumultuous life, a disastrous life in a way. Through the eyes of a child or even a teenager or a young adult, I had a really, really hard life. That saw me being kicked, actually running for my safety and my well-being, because I came to the point where I nearly had a nervous breakdown, because when you sit in the car and you're a mother and you're driving in the car and the passenger seat is somebody with a gun on you, and then the back is your child with a gun on her, that's something that scars you for life. I mean, even now I live with remnants of just...
But how would you be put in that position in the first place?
I don't know. It's something I still grapple with. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I drove up one day to my house, and as I drove down on my drive, I was about to come out to open my door, and then all I know was I just felt a gun to my neck, and my phone was taken away, and I had to open my grill. You have the grill in the Caribbean, and that's what happened. And the rest is what it is.
You say the rest is what it is.
Yeah, because I don't mean to make it sound like that. It's just a case of, I don't like to relive it, but it's happened, and it's not one of the things that you want to. It's happened. I can't explain how I'm still even standing sensibly. I know probably if I were in the UK, I'd have been put in some mental hospital, but it was a very tragic. It was a very, very painful, hard, difficult, emotionally, psychologically challenging period for me. It was hard. I couldn't be on 6 o'clock, couldn't catch me on the road in Jamaica. I couldn't do it because I relived that. I relived it. And I moved communities, went away to Florida, came back, and they came back again. It's one of those things.
So how do you move on to realize that life isn't like this all the time when you've had a really unfair hand to begin with?
Do you know what? And that's a very great question. I actually think I look at my life now, where I'm at and where I have been, because I've been to some dark places, and I just really think that life is gonna throw things at you. However, the fact that I'm alive, I mean, because I was dumped on a beach and gunshots were fired at me, and and I survived. And I think I survived for a reason. And because of that reason, I am going to make the best of what I have left of life. And I'm living now, and I'm living in the moment. And I just celebrate life these days. And I use that story to teach other people that regardless of what life throws at you, you can actually make something of your life. I'm proof that, your past is not a determinant of your future.
Okay, and so in doing all of that, we are here now in England, where you do multiple things. Apart from being an author, you're also a life coach. You do many things, and now you're taking this concept that you've succeeded to do here over to the Caribbean. Do you think they'll listen in the Caribbean?
I think so, because I think my story is not unique. I think there are lots of people in the Caribbean with similar aspects of my story. So I think I think I'm a voice that they will listen to. I think I've healed a lot of people. A lot of people have come forward and said, thank you for sharing. Thank you for just being so honest and open about things like incest that is such a taboo in the Caribbean. So I think there are lots of people that will listen. And on the program for the Caribbean Conference, some of these same issues that we need to address as a people. And as women, we have a responsibility to our daughters. But we need to become wholesome ourselves and talk about the issues that we carry. Because as women, we carry so many bags, especially as Caribbean women, because we hide so much, because we're taught to hide so much. So I know women will listen, and I know a lot of women will be healed and mended, and will be able to just be authentic with themselves and just break down the chains and the barriers and just breathe, because that's what I had to do.
Well, you've also had a lot of amazing support, because one of the things that we find, especially in the Caribbean, is that we are a proud people. And even though we go through certain things, we can't say anything.
Yes,
You can't say anything. And especially if they're religious, you can't say anything. So you have the support because, you mentioned your daughter before, and of course she was very young. Now, because she was very young, it doesn't mean that she doesn't know what happened. She would remember. She remembered. And even her vision of that would be even distorted because she was much younger.
She had to get help.
And now you actually telling everyone what you did, which is so open, which affects her too. So you have her support on this. And some children would say, no, Mummy, I don't want you to expose yourself like this.
Do you know what? You're right. I waited until she was 16 before I even wrote. I've written a book. I've been writing the book for a while. I've been writing my story on paper, but I didn't want to expose our life until my daughter was comfortable. And I sought her permission. And she said, Mommy, it's okay. I wanted to make sure, because it's not just my life, it's her life as well. And I don't want to go and put her life in the open if she wasn't comfortable. We've got to think about our children in those respects. And the people in our life, whether it's our partners, our family. And my family and my daughter was comfortable. And when she gave me the permission, I was able to do it.
Okay, well, I'm going to say goodbye to you just temporarily.
Yes, that's okay.
Because I have another guest joining me. But when you do join me again, I'd like us to show your viewers the book so that they can have access to it. Fantastic. And we'll talk again about what's happening in St. Kitts.
Thank you so much.
Good. Okay, so make sure you stay with us. We'll be right back. This is the Allure Factor, and I've changed guests, and you would have heard us mentioning Ebony, relationships, love, and I'm sure you stuck around because I know you are very interested in that. So welcome, Ebony.
Thank you so much.
How did you get that name, Ebony?
That's a long story, and it's probably one that will take up your slot. But it was really somebody who kind of had a love interest in me, I suppose we call it that.
Okay.
And I was looking for a show name. I was starting a new show around 2011, and the show was really to empower women and men in relationships. And I was looking for a show name, and I had a guy who loved to send me poetry. And the day before the very first show, I still didn't have a name. And I think he texted me about 2 o'clock in the morning, just before my very first show. And it was a message to my Ebony Velvet Empress. Oh. And I was like, I hate the velvet, but I like the Ebony Empress.
Right, but you're no longer with him.
We were never together.
Okay.
He was just interested.
Oh, we see, that was the reason why. The reason why was he was supposed to supply you with that name.
Yes.
And that's all it was.
That's all it was. So
Good.
I messaged him and I said, okay, we're never going to be together, but I love the name. I'm going to use it for my show. So you will always know that you made a contribution.
And the show is still running, isn't it?
The show is still running. I've now moved to a new hosting in terms of Blog Talk, but I started with Tropical FM. And I was doing a show called More Power Within You, which is really about trying to get the power back in your own life. It was about my own experience. It was totally selfish. I just wanted to learn more about relationships. Having been in a 25-year relationship that came to an end, I decided, well, you know what, now I need to learn about why people do what they do in relationships. So I started the blog, basically, which was, on Tropical FM. I had a lot of people who contributed, and it just grew and grew. It grew its own legs. Now I've got probably about 101 or 2,000 odd people, 100,000 people who have downloaded those blogs and who are learning from those blogs.
So, we kind of gone into the show, but what about you? Where are you based and where are you from?
I'm from London. I was born in London. Lived all my life in London. I've travelled other places. My family originally from Jamaica, but I was born here in London, and I'm happy you are in London right now. But yeah, I'm a London girl, and all my main experiences have been around this part of the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you said that you actually started doing what you're doing because you were in a relationship that had failed after 25 years.
Yeah.
Can you still remember? I mean, how long ago was that, can I ask?
About 8 years.
Okay.
8 years ago.
But don't you see yourself as a different person now?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I think everybody goes on a journey. I think anybody who ends a long-term relationship actually goes back to the beginning, almost like a child, and you try to relearn where you went wrong. What was I doing? What was going on? How did I get here? And in going through that process, you've got to go through some sort of self-development, because that's the only way that you can really kind of put it in a context where you can start to learn and maybe even help other people to make some shifts in their own lives. So, I did my own work. I was coached by someone for a couple of years. I did some counselling like people do. But, what I really learned was that, a lot of it was about me, learning about what was right for me. Understanding my choices and understanding the consequences of choices.
That's a lot of things that we don't do. It's always about the other person and not just us. And I remembered one of the books that changed my life was a book by Ayanna Van Sant, and it was called Living in the Meantime.
Oh, yes.
She had two versions. One was just a hard book version and one was a workbook version. The workbook version was about that thick, maybe about 100 pages. And one of the questions, it took me 2 years to go through that book, because one of the questions that she asked, it took me about a year to answer it.
Wow.
And the first question was, what makes you happy? Simple. But when I started writing it, I realized I was answering what makes other people happy, not really what made me happy. And I think that's one of the things that we do as women.
Yes.
We know what makes us happy, but we do what other people want us to do to make us happy.
Yeah, we don't focus on self. And I'm really excited about the conference that's coming.
Yes.
The Antilia conference, because I think women will get a chance to step out of the normal course of life, to take some time to really look at what's going on for them, to get out their own storytelling, really get out of your head. Some of it is what we've been told about ourselves. Some of it is really what we've experienced from dysfunctional relationships. So, who am I is a question that we want women to answer themselves. Who am I? What is it that I want from this world? What's my purpose? What is it that ultimately I want to achieve for me? And, what makes me happy is a big question. But a lot of us, we focus out externally. And I think it is going to be a really, really important conference to bring people back to self. Yeah, I'm responsible for me. I can't be responsible for everybody else's actions. I cannot decide even what my children will do, although I try to inform them in good ways and support them to be the best of their selves. But it's still going to be about me ultimately. And that's not a selfish me. That's me understanding the world around me and understanding how I can take myself from here to there. So I might be here for a reason, but I'm not going to stay here. I really have to find my purpose. I have to find my greatness. And it's a journey. But I think the great thing about the conference is that we can do it together. We can hold each other's hands in a safe space. We can kind of cry together. We can talk about stuff that maybe we wouldn't get that space anywhere else, to kind of together attack the issues that we all face and that are common to us. And I think that unity of purpose is going to drive us to a bigger objective, a bigger outcome. And I'd like to see women leave the conference stronger, more in touch with self, more able to take on new careers or new opportunities. I mean, recently I actually decided to go back to school. And that for me is a big one, because I gave up that for my children. I really took all that time. I put 4 kids through university. They're all doing really well. Thank you. But, you know, now it's time for me. And I actually feel like, you know, I still have a purpose that I want to achieve. I still want to do something that I can leave as part of my legacy. So, you know, that's what I want for the women too. I want them to be able to look at self and say, what is it that I want?
Well, you know,
I can still do.
You sound very convincing. Ava's going to join us in a moment. And the question I'm
Yes.
going to put to both of you is, it's all well and good. We all come together and we all inspire each other.
Yes.
But when we leave, how do we make that first step to continue that journey? So stay with us on the Allure Factor. We'll be right back. Okay. This is the Delor Factor, and I've changed guests, and you would have heard us mentioning Ebony, relationships, love, and I'm sure you stuck around because I know you are very interested in that. So welcome, Ebony.
Thank you so much.
How did you get that name, Ebony?
That's a long story, and it's probably one that will take up your slot. Mm-hmm. But it was really somebody who kind of had a love interest in me, I suppose we call it that.
Okay.
And I was looking for a show name. I was starting a new show around 2011, and the show was really to empower women and men in relationships. And I was looking for a show name, and I had a guy who loved to send me poetry. And the day before the very first show, I still didn't have a name. And I think he texted me about 2 o'clock in the morning, just before my very first show, and it was a message to my Ebony Velvet Empress. And I was like, I hate the velvet, but I like the Ebony Empress.
Right, but you're no longer with him.
We were never together.
Okay.
He was just interested.
Oh, we see, that was the reason why. The reason why was he was supposed to supply you with that name.
Yes.
And that's all it was.
That's all it was. So
Good.
I messaged him and I said, okay, we're never going to be together, but I love the name. I'm going to use it for my show. So you will always know that you made a contribution.
And the show is still running, isn't it?
The show is still running. I've now moved to a new hosting in terms of Blog Talk, but I started with Tropical FM. And I was doing a show called More Power Within You, which is really about trying to get the power back in your own life. It was about my own experience. It was totally selfish. I just wanted to learn more about relationships. Having been in a 25-year relationship that came to an end, I decided, well, you know what, now I need to learn about why people do what they do in relationships. So I started the blog, basically, which was, on Tropical FM. I had a lot of people who contributed, and it just grew and grew. It grew its own legs. Now I've got probably about 101 or 2,000 odd people, 100,000 people who have downloaded those blogs and who are learning from those blogs.
So, we kind of gone into the show, but what about you? Where are you based, and where are you from?
I'm from London. I was born in London. Lived all my life in London. I've travelled other places. My family originally are from Jamaica, but I was born here in London, and I'm happy you are in London right now. But yeah, I'm a London girl, and all my main experiences have been around this part of the world.
Okay. Yeah. Now, you said that you actually started doing what you're doing because you were in a relationship that had failed after 25 years. Yeah. Can you still remember? I mean, how long ago was that, can I ask?
About 8 years.
Okay.
8 years ago.
But don't you see yourself as a different person now?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I think everybody goes on a journey. I think anybody who ends a long-term relationship actually goes back to the beginning, almost like a child. And you try to relearn where you went wrong. What was I doing? What was going on? How did I get here? And in going through that process, you've got to go through some sort of self-development, because that's the only way that you can really kind of put it in a context where you can start to learn and maybe even help other people to make some shifts in their own lives. So, you know, I did my own work. I was coached by someone for a couple of years. I did some counselling like people do. But, you know, what I really learned was that, you know, a lot of it was about me, learning about what was right for me. Understanding my choices and understanding the consequences of choices.
You know, that's a lot of things that we don't do. It's always about the other person and not just us. And I remembered one of the books that changed my life was a book by Ayanna Van Sant, and it was called Living in the Meantime.
Oh, yes.
She had two versions. One was just a hard book version and one was a workbook version. The workbook version was about that thick, maybe about 100 pages. And one of the questions, it took me 2 years to go through that book, because one of the questions that she asked, it took me about a year to answer it.
Wow.
And the first question was, what makes you happy? Simple. But when I started writing it, I realized I was answering what makes other people happy, not really what made me happy. And I think that's one of the things that we do as women.
Yes.
We know what makes us happy, but we do what other people want us to do to make us happy.
Yeah, we don't focus on self. And I'm really excited about the conference that's coming.
Yes.
The Antilia conference, because I think women will get a chance to step out of the normal course of life, to take some time to really look at what's going on for them, to get out their own storytelling, really get out of your head. You know, some of it is what we've been told about ourselves. Some of it is really what we've experienced from dysfunctional relationships. So, you know, who am I is the question that we want women to answer themselves. Who am I? What is it that I want from this world? What's my purpose? What is it that ultimately I'm going to achieve for me? And, you know, what makes me happy is a big question. But a lot of us, we focus out externally. And I think it is going to be a really, really important conference to bring people back to self. Yeah, I'm responsible for me. I can't be responsible for everybody else's actions. I cannot decide even what my children will do, although I try to inform them in good ways and support them to be the best of their selves. But it's still going to be about me ultimately. And that's not a selfish me. That's me understanding the world around me and understanding how I can take myself from here to there. So I might be here for a reason, but I'm not going to stay here. I really have to find my purpose. I have to find my greatness. And it's a journey. But I think the great thing about the conference is that we can do it together. We can hold each other's hands in a safe space. We can kind of cry together. We can talk about stuff that maybe we wouldn't get that space anywhere else, to kind of together attack the issues that we all face and that are common to us. And I think that unity of purpose is going to drive us to a bigger objective, a bigger outcome. And I'd like to see women leave the conference stronger, more in touch with self, more able to take on new careers or new opportunities. I mean, recently I actually decided to go back to school. And that for me is a big one, because I gave up that for my children. I really took all that time. I put 4 kids through university. They're all doing really well. Thank you. But, you know, now it's time for me. And I actually feel like, you know, I still have a purpose that I want to achieve. I still want to do something that I can leave as part of my legacy. So, you know, that's what I want for the women too. I want them to be able to look at self and say, what is it that I want?
Well, you know,
I can still do.
You sound very convincing. Ava's going to join us in a moment. And the question I'm going to put to both of you is, it's all well and good. We all come together and we all inspire each other.
Yes.
But when we leave, how do we make that first step to continue that journey? So stay with us on the Allure Factor. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Allure Factor. You know what, we're going to digress for a little while. Now you'll see the 2 ladies sitting next to me like, okay, we're ready to go. But what they haven't anticipated is, before we start, they've got to go down there and show us what they're wearing. Now, you know, we do that sometimes. So this lady here, she was complaining in the break that how come she's got, you know, everyone can see a beautiful blue dress, but we couldn't see what she's got below. So show them.
Oh,
look at her big red shoes. Taking up all the space. I can't even put my foot up. And Ebony was saying,
my
well, you know,
God.
I'm not that conscious, but look, she's all colour coordinated.
Thank you.
And I've got my boots.
Because
I
she's
can't
in
wear in the
London.
Caribbean, you know. But you know what? A wonderful thing about, you know, the Caribbean, you can wear all these beautiful sandals and so on and so forth. But
Yes.
I wear all my shoes, and I wear all my shoes because if you don't, it's so hot they start getting, you know, you get unstuck, and the glue you walk, and the next minute, you know, the heel just flips off because you haven't been using your shoes. So I use all my shoes.
Good,
Oh,
good. That's my kind of girl.
Yeah.
Use all your shoes.
And you love shoes too,
I
right?
do, I
Well,
love
which woman doesn't? You know, we have this thing
Yeah, I
about
think
loving
I've
our
got a
shoes.
different kind of love for them. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree. You do.
Good. And you know what I like about this? I love the vibe because when we all meet again in
Yeah.
St. Kitts, this is the
It's gonna
kind of
be
vibe.
wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, where
Yes.
all the women, we come together and we talk about life and everything, and I'm sure we'll talk about shoes
Of
and
course.
what we're wearing
We
and
are
all those
going
kind
to
of
offer
things.
counselling to Ava for her shoes. She needs counselling. She has issues.
People I need counseling for my shoes.
I think the men would say that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
the men. I had this campaign about how many shoes the men have in their wardrobes.
Some men have lots.
I haven't seen any of
My
them.
ex-husband had a bigger closet than I did.
Wow.
He did.
Wow.
He had
Maybe
more.
that's one of the reasons why you married him. Because
He
he
had,
had shoes.
no, but he had more clothes than I did, and more shoes than I
Wow,
did.
that's very rare.
I
'cause
know.
Most men don't have many shoes.
Oh,
you
he
know?
had many. He had in different color, shapes, and sizes. Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
He had many shoes and a lot of clothes. We used to quarrel about space and yeah. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
Wow.
let's get back to what we were talking about. We were talking about life in general and
Yes.
the things that we've learned better now and so on and so forth. But of course, the key is that we're all going to be coming together at in St. Kitts at the Marriott Hotel, and we're going to be talking about all different things. So, Ava, can you do a recap, because some of our viewers would have maybe just tuned in. So, give us a recap. What's going to be happening in St. Kitts?
So we're going to be on at the Marriott St. Kitts from the 3rd through the 5th of December. We have women coming from North America, the Caribbean, you know, all over that kind of region. And we're coming together, you know, to link minds and focus on women's health, well-being, business, the whole woman. Because it's, you know, as Sandra said earlier, it's not just about one aspect of your life, it's the whole you. We're talking about how your business can be transformed, but unless you are at a good place as the woman who's running that business, you're not going to give it your best. So we're going to have life coaches, we're going to have relationship coaches, we're going to have speakers looking at women's issues from a holistic point of view, from, you know, from health and well-being to relationships to your business to every aspect of a woman. And we're going to say, come get turned in, tapped on, and be ready to be transformed. We're saying women are going to leave that conference in a different frame of mind than they came, and be ready to dominate their lives in 2016. So that's what we're really, really going to be putting together.
And why did you put it together? And why St. Kitts?
I was actually approached by Shirley Osborne with an idea, and we sat down and we had, you know, a mastermind about it. And we thought the Caribbean is so neglected in terms of our women. You know, a lot of things are happening in the US and Europe, and not often Caribbean women are given the opportunity to come together on their soil. But also the fact that it's such a, come on, where else? Europe is cold, most of North America is cold. We thought of Antigua, and it was a little bit too expensive, sorry you guys. And then St. Kitts was perfect because they had the Marriott, it was a lovely hotel, and it was accessible to, you know, via flights and so forth. And then I think Shirley lives in Montserrat, so it just seemed quite perfect. And, you know, all the islands are beautiful, but St. Kitts won this time. Sorry, Delia.
I'm not saying anything, as I told you earlier. St. Kitts had some wonderful memories for me, you know, very empowering moments for me. So I haven't got a problem with that. But when the ladies go to St. Kitts, are the men excluded in any way?
No, the men are not. It's a women's conference, but of course some people are bringing their partners because we're making it a holiday as well. The Marriott is beautiful. I mean, I see the pictures and I'm thinking, oh God, it's so beautiful. So we have offers where people can make a holiday of it. The hotel is even offering, you know, extra nights, extra days for a particular rate. So no, people can. I'm bringing my children. you know, I'm making a holiday out of it. So no, you don't have to leave your husband to come to St. Kitts. You leave your husband to go when you're going to go with a like-minded woman to talk about women's issues and how to be empowered to go back to be a better wife or a better girlfriend to your husband. So your husband should come along, and in the evenings, you know, you get childcare and you go and spend quality time with your husband, because some of the things that Sandra will teach you in that conference might just rekindle the flame. Right, Sandra?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Sandra, whet our appetite. I'm coming already, but I know I'm going to bring some girlfriends. I'm going to encourage our ladies to come. What's on your mind?
I think it's a transformation. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a transformation which is holistic. So the holistic transformation is not just about you as a person being transformed. It's being transformed and allowing that transformation to transform your whole relationship. So you know, the relationship is never just about you. It is about your children. It's about your partner, if you have one. It's about also being able to, if you're single, to think about how you can attract someone into your life if you're looking for a partner. Yeah. So we're looking at doing some work with single women as well. There are a number of us who are career women out there battling, you know, brave and bold, but not able to get the person in our life that we may want. So we're going to do some work on ourselves, maybe doing, you know, looking at exploring some fantasy dating. That's something I've come into recently, which is great fun. You know, people who...
Fantasy dating?
Fantasy dating.
What's that?
Well, that's where women may be reluctant daters. Never been out there and challenged yourself to actually approach a guy. We're always waiting for someone to approach us. So fantasy dating is about, if you see someone, you slip them a card. Okay.
Okay.
Subtle. I like that.
Okay.
A subtle move.
I like that.
You know, and you hook up, if you think that person has an alignment with you, and you think it can work for you, then you pursue it. And you know, it's just a new way of women not just sitting back and waiting, always waiting, you know, being a bit more proactive about what they want.
But I've got a question on that. I mean, because what if some men, because there's some men who find, I mean, women like me, I mean, they find me a little bit too assertive already. Yeah. So how do I go to a guy, slip in my card, which you know I'm not afraid to do, but then there's some men who will actually find that a little bit, you know, a put off. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, we're looking
for guys. Forward.
Yeah, we're looking for guys who are a little bit evolved.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
And who maybe, and there are lots of guys who don't like to always do the approach.
They want to be approached.
They actually want to be approached in 2015. And so it's getting with the program, okay, that some people not just want to be the you know, we think they're the hunter and gatherers, but some people want you to say, actually, I do like you after a nice little conversation. And maybe he's afraid to give you the card or to make the next move, but you say, actually, you deserve a card.
But Sandra,
in
the Caribbean, men are not afraid to
deserve a card. Oh, you deserve a kiss. Oh, you deserve
I know, right? But in the Caribbean, men are not afraid to chirps you, right? Is that the right word? Yeah. They're not afraid to chirps you, to go after you. Yeah. But in London here, I
that's
think,
why you need the card for London.
But the men in London, I know that I'm a relatively attractive girl. Yeah. But most men in London, they just it's Japanese style, and they just don't do anything.
But there's a lot of fear, isn't there? And we've got to understand the fear that's out there. There's a lot of fear of rejection. Okay.
Oh, I got a question. I've got to say it before I forget.
Yes.
Okay. It's a great concept, but what about how do you find out that a man is single and available? Because remember, if you're on your own and you're single, you don't know whether you can approach him.
You're going to say
yes.
Ladies, you've got to come out to St. Kitts.
But don't you think that's valid? Don't you think that's a really good question? Okay,
I
have another one. I don't know. I hope you're not going to say this one. Okay, the other question is, what about, you know, you're dating someone, you think, okay, then we're going to take it to the next level. Not level as in, you know, getting engaged or whatever, but, you know, you've had a platonic relationship so far, and tonight's the night, basically. Tonight's the night. Right? Okay. So we're getting ready, and then we realize, oh my God, I haven't taken off my clothes for a man for ages.
Oh yeah,
you know
I'm having
that happens.
That fair now.
Yeah, a lot of that happens, especially you just think, I haven't taken. So you want the lights off, perhaps. Sometimes even if the lights are off, you're feeling, oh, I'm not sure, whatever.
I've got that.
How do you psych yourself up to feel comfortable?
You have to psych yourself up.
No. Yes.
Okay. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. But I think part of it is about self-esteem and the self-love, okay? And recognizing that actually men are not that bothered about so much that we are bothered about. It is that storytelling. You know, and one of the things we're going to address in St. Kitts is storytelling. We tell ourselves a lot of stories that aren't true. They are perception, they're not reality. And what we're going to do in St. Kitts is separate the two. What is perception? What is What's our reality? Perception? And what is real? Because that perception will have you thinking that a man really cares. If he's really into you, the truth is, he just can't wait to see the body that's beyond this dress. Okay? In fact, you're covering it up. You're covering up the treasure.
Hold on. I don't have that fear of oh, he's gonna see. That's not my fear.
Okay.
My fear is I just think I hate starting new relationships. I think that thing is so intimate that I just wish I never had to replay and do it with somebody new. It's not the fear of him seeing my body, because I love my body the way it is, and if he does not love my body, then he can't be with me.
Yeah.
So I think we all have different fears, because everybody bought into that whole, nuclear family come together and stay together, and it's not the reality anymore. Right. But yeah, I think Senk is going to be really hot.
It's going to be interesting.
It is going to be very interesting. And let me just say one thing before we go to the break. We're going to continue. It's not my fear to take off my clothes for another night. I'm just being devil's advocate here because I know my viewers very well, and I know they're going to say, especially being from the Caribbean, they're going to be thinking, "Oh, I'm not sure."
Girl, take it off.
Take it off. Take it off, my girl. Question.
Get a pole. Get a pole in your bedroom and take it off.
Right, so you make sure you stay here. All right, more questions when we get back. Okay. This is the Allure Factor. We're in London and we are having a wonderful time, especially because we are convincing you that the place to be quite soon is in St. Kitts. Ava and Ebony are here and they will be encouraging you even more the reasons why you should be coming, not just to meet us, because I would like to know that the next time you see us, you'll see us in person at the Marriott in St. Kitts. But before that, if there are any questions or anything at all that you'd like the conference to address, perhaps you can drop us a line and then I can follow through to Ava and she can ensure that there's something along the line that will suit them.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. I think you can have the questions come through to you and then they can come over to me. That's fantastic. Or, if people want to contact me, it's info@avabrown.org, which you are going to have listed as well. So that's all right. But it's all good and well to come through to you because you are a media sponsor with us anyway.
That's right. I'm so looking forward to that.
Yes.
Now, give us the actual, we know it's at the Marriott. What are the dates and what's actually going to be happening? Will everyone be in a conference during the day or nighttime as well, or how's it looking?
So it's going to be the 3rd through to the 5th of December, the conference, the core conference.
Right.
It's in the daytime because it's a beautiful island, great weather, and we don't want people to be in a conference at the night. So it's a day conference where people actually are going to be gathering. There are going to be workshops, and in the evening you're free to go and explore the grounds. There's golf. I mean, I want to go and do a little bit of golfing myself. And there's lots of, the restaurants look amazing. So it's a day conference with the women. And so we leave the afternoon and the evenings rather for families to go and enjoy themselves and for networking to happen. So we're going to have a gala dinner the last night where people can get their gowns. As ladies go and buy your dresses and whatever suits you, and your shoes, whatever suits you.
Oh God, here she goes on those shoes again.
And we're gonna, and that's
are we gonna have a prize for the best shoes or something?
I don't know yet, but that's an idea. And that's where the husbands come in. Your partners will be on your arms to come to that grand dinner. We also have awards that will be given that night. So you can't get the award if you're not there. So 3rd to 5th of December, they're Marriott St. Kitts. Ebony and I and Delia, we're all going to be there wearing pretty shoes.
Okay, now you have your book, which I'm sure will be available.
Yes, it
at
will
the conference.
be.
Okay, tell us about your book.
It's very quickly. It's called Bamboo and Fern. It's a story of my life. Growing up in Jamaica. So if you want to know a little bit more about me before I come to St. Kitts, you can actually buy it on Amazon. But if you want to get it signed, you have to be there in person, and I'll have some copies for you down there. It's Bamboo and Fern by Ava Brown, and it's at Amazon or www.avabrown.org.
Okay.
Yes.
And the second one?
And I have another one, which is The Musing and Thoughts of Ava Brown. It's just conversation, so I'm letting you into my head to see the exploits and the little thoughts that I carry around every day.
But why would anyone want to buy your books?
I think I'm interesting. I think I've got a great story. But my fun and joke aside, my book is really a book of strength. It really gives you a lot of tips on, or it teaches you about life and struggles of my life and seeing how I've overcome them. And it helps you to realize that sometimes what you think is bad in your life is not so bad after all, when you see what other people go through. But I think it's a great story of how somebody as ordinary as myself has overcome so many challenges, and I'm making a huge stride in helping to change other people's perception of what they think they can do with their lives. And I think that's a good enough reason to buy my book.
Okay. I think you sold it extremely well. The only thing that I would say, this thing about ordinary, there is nothing ordinary about you. Nothing. Not even from your childhood, from your experiences up to now. You are extraordinary.
That's why I call myself Ava Eagle Brown. Thank you very much.
That's my girl. Now, Sandra, I did say at the beginning of this segment that people can contact us if there's any kind of elements that they'd want to talk about. I know many people will be on that relationship lark and so on. Now, in the work that you presently do, can you think of maybe some of the common, popular things, problems, thoughts that people have that you're always addressing? I'd like to know whether they're similar in the UK to the Caribbean.
I'd say they're probably relationships are relationships wherever you go. I think the common issue will be about alignment. You know, how do I find somebody who's absolutely right for me? How do I find that special person that I think? Does that special person exist? Okay, or is it in my head? So that's a similar story that goes around relationships for everybody. I think everybody has the issues about confidence. You know, how confident am I to go out and talk to people, especially if I've been through a long-term relationship or I've been in a relationship and I've not had such a great experience. How do I get the confidence to go back out and actually meet people? And actually that's been part of my journey and part of the shows that I've done, helping people to get the confidence to actually go out and say, well, you know, I'm fine now. I can actually date people and not be afraid of rejection or setbacks, because there will be some. You know, it's not a perfect world. And so, you know, I think that some of the things that people will be asking really will be, when I decide to pick somebody to date, what will be the purpose of that? Am I going to get married? Or are we just going to live together? Or is this just a temporary arrangement? Because now we have different choices. We don't always marry people. There are less marriages than ever before. But you have to decide. And more divorces. So you now have to decide, what is it that I want? What am I looking for if I say I want to go into a relationship? Is it a partnership? Is it a friendship? Is it going to be for companionship? You know, is it just to wake up to somebody occasionally? What is it? There's so many choices.
A lot of it as well is that people are basing the type of the relationship that they're looking for based on society's perception of what they should be looking for. You know, and I think that's something that we could address as well.
Yes, absolutely. What do you want? What are you looking for?
Yes,
and I think sometimes you've got to, this is part of the coaching, I don't want to give away too much, but you've got to sit down and write down almost 10 things that you're looking for in a partner. And they have to be honest things, you know, and it's not a list of things that you're going to get, but it's going to help you to form your purpose.
Let me just ask you very briefly. I'm assuming that most of the people who respond to or participate in your show are women.
No, a lot of men.
A lot of men.
A lot of men.
What are the men's concerns when it comes to relationships?
Just like the women's. We have a different world now, and this is why people need to get up to date on relationships. If you've been in a relationship for 10 years or more, actually you don't know what the world is like in terms of dating and relationships, and you have to relearn it almost. The men's concerns are very similar to the women's concerns. Can I trust the person? Can I trust the connection? Yes. Can I trust that you'll say, when I put in and invest in you, say I take you out dating, I spend money, you know, I take you out, I maybe introduce you to friends and family, are you going to stay committed to that? Or is this going to be a very temporary affair? And it is the same question. What is your purpose? You want to get together with me? What is it we want in this connection? So I think the men are on the same journey. We just need to come together on it. You know, we both need to be clear before we start connecting as to what it is we want in our own minds. What I want the women to do, because we're only dealing with women in St. Kitts, is to get straight with themselves. Okay, I think if you know what you want, half the battle's won. You know
And
what I
I
mean?
like what Sandra said about what you want, because so often we focus on what we don't want in a relationship. I have shifted everything about my life now to focus on just what I want, not what I don't want. Because I'm not concerned about what I don't want. And I think that's beautiful what Sandra has just said. Focus on what you want. Write down 10 things you want in a relationship.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that there'll be many people with their pens and papers armed and ready
we'll
to
supply
answer those questions.
Yeah.
So, ladies, it's time for me to say goodbye to you both.
Already.
Just in London, because we're going to be going to St. Kitts.
Yes.
Whoa,
I
we're
can't
going
wait.
to St.
It's so cold here as well, guys, that I just can't wait to come to St. Kitts.
We need the heat.
Oh,
we need
yes.
vitamin D.
So, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, people can go to my website, www.ebonyempresstv.com, and you can find me there. If you want to send me a message, please do. If you want to ask me about coaching, I've got a new site that's going to be ready for St. Kitts, actually. So there will be a new website. If you come to St. Kitts, you will come and and get in touch with my new website. But there is a new website, but the one at the moment that you can connect me with is the ebonyempresstv.com.
Ava?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ava. So I'm at www.avabrown.org. And it's really important for people watching to understand that if you want to contact us for St. Kitts, you can go through Delia or info@avabrown.org. If you want to talk to me about anything before that, it's www.avabrown.org, or social media. I'm everywhere, really. I'm just all over the place.
And I think that you said that there were some special packages
Yes.
available
Oh,
now,
thank
right?
you. So if you, no, I know you are coming to St. Kitts, and because you are coming, if you email me or go to Eventbrite, so it's Eventbrite as in BRITE, and you search for Antilia Women's Conference, you'll find it there. It's $300 to come in at the moment. It's for the whole, it's $300 for the conference, especially if you're in the island. It's just $300. US dollars. It's not pounds, although we're coming from England. It's US dollars. So there's a special on. I think it ends in about a few weeks, 2 weeks or so. So please go out and get your tickets. That will be
You know what?
really
You should
great.
maybe say the price in pounds, because it actually sounds less.
It's it's like £150,
£240 or something like
so
that.
it's nothing much.
It's nothing. For 2 days, that could change your life, and you can also
with international
have some time.
speakers.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
we have a special American guest that's coming. Not saying who she is now, but you have to come to see.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well, you can count on Allure Factor. We will keep you up to date with everything that is happening. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me
Thank you for
here in
having us.
London.
Yes.
And we're going to be in our bikinis. I don't know about me.
I don't know about me. I don't know about me, but I'm going to be in the water.
The one who says, but afraid to take clothes off. But it'll be really wonderful to see you both in the sunny Caribbean.
We can't
Can't
wait.
wait.
Oh, we can't
Amazing.
wait.
Good.
It's
So
amazing.
thank you so much for staying with us. Until next time, as I usually say, goodbye. God bless.